Today we're going to learn how to draw a sidewalk in two-point perspective. One thing to remember when you're drawing your sidewalk is that every single line that you draw should be lining up with the vanishing point. All of these lines over here angle to the left vanishing point, and all of these lines going this way angle to the right vanishing point. The most common mistake that I see when students are drawing sidewalk parts is that they start out all right, but then they start drawing lines that are going up into space instead of keeping these lines tipping down to the vanishing point. The result is you have a sidewalk that looks like it's starting to tip up. To get started, we're going to draw these lines that angle down, so the sides of the sidewalk. But we always want to start with our eye level line. For this exercise, I'd like you to draw your eye level line really high on the paper, and then make sure you put 2 vanishing points. Next up, we'll draw the lines angling across down this way. So I'm going to start by lining my ruler up with this vanishing point and then drawing as far down as I possibly can go. Next up, I'm going to draw the other side, so a line from this vanishing point, and we're going to meet that one at the bottom of the paper. Now we'll draw the inside edge of the sidewalk, so I'll take my ruler, lining it up with the right, and bring it so it's about 2 inches away from the bottom edge. And then the same thing on the other side. All right, so we have our 2 basic sidewalks set up. I'm going to show you 2 different ways. The first way is easier, and the second way is more complicated. You can decide which way works best for you. So the first way is to just remember that as the pieces go back in space, they should get a little bit closer together, but you're just going to kind of like use your own judgment. So if my first one is this wide, I'm going to make the second one just a little bit shorter than that, also making sure that I'm lining up with my left vanishing point. Next one, a little bit shorter, and then as I continue back, each one just a little bit shorter than the previous one because it's getting further away, and we all know as things get further away, they look smaller. Okay, so if this way works for you and you don't like doing really complicated things in perspective, you can do both sidewalks using that technique. If you want more rules and structure, and you really want to understand how perspective works, I do have a simple trick that can help you figure this out more precisely. To do this, we need to find the middle of this front block. So we're going to draw an X through it. I'm going to draw it with light pressure because this is something that will be erased later. So now I know where the center of the block is, and I'm going to run a line down this all the way to the left vanishing point. Now I need this line to help me figure out where things go, or where the lines go. Okay, so I'm going to start by lining up this corner here, and where this line crosses the other piece, so this intersection right here with my ruler, I'm actually going to draw this line so you can see it. You don't have to draw this line, you just need to line up your ruler with it and figure out where you hit right here. Let me make that darker, so I want to make sure you can see what I'm doing. Right corner of my first block, lining it up where the center line that I drew hits this piece right there, and then over here. Now when you get to this point, this is where your next seam should go. So I'm lining up this point here with the right vanishing point. Okay, so now I'm going to repeat it. I start with this corner, lining up where the center line crosses that intersection there. And when it hits here, that's where my next line goes. So now I'm lining up that corner here with the opposite vanishing point. Now, if all of this makes your head hurt, you don't have to do this. But if you enjoy perspective and you want to be more precise with your lines, this is a good way to go. I'm just going to continue on back a few more times so you can see how this works. And you may find as you're doing this that you start getting your pieces of pavement really close together and all of the lines are piled up on each other. That's probably an indication that it's time to stop and call that good for the end of your block. And there you go. 2 ways. You can see this looks about like this one, but it's just a little bit more